Hi everyone, my name is Steve, and today's story is like a horror movie, only scarier. It's the chilling tale of a marriage that took a dark turn. You won't believe that people can do this to their loved one. Back in 2012, Brazil was rocked by a scandal involving one of its wealthiest men, businessman Marcos Matsunaga. It all started with a billion-dollar deal on the horizon. But on the eve of sealing the pact, Marcos mysteriously vanished. The nation held its breath as the story unfolded. At first, the police suspected rival business competitors, thinking they might have orchestrated a kidnapping to sabotage Marcos and his lucrative deal. The media frenzy captured the grief-stricken widow's heart-wrenching moments, splashed across the front pages of every major newspaper. But my friends, reality turned out to be far more sinister than anyone could have imagined. The shocking truth behind Marcos's disappearance was a gruesome revelation that sent shivers down the spines of an entire nation. The intricate web of deceit, betrayal, and horror that unfolded in this marriage was nothing short of a true crime documentary come to life. Enter the twisted world of a marriage more bone-chilling than any horror flick, a narrative that unfolds like a true crime documentary. Meet Marcos Matsunaga, a name that would soon become synonymous with a cold-blooded murder and a monstrous attempt to conceal the heinous crime. But who was Marcos Matsunaga before the darkness took hold? Marcos, an entrepreneur of staggering wealth, hailed from one of Brazil's most affluent families. He steered a family business rooted in the production of various food products, particularly yokai. The origins of this empire trace back to Marcos's grandfather, Yoshizo Kitano, an immigrant whose legacy formed the very essence of the family brand. The business started humbly, a small flour milling enterprise weathering the storms of crisis and war, eventually blossoming into a global giant with a diverse range of products. Marcos, born into opulence, faced no trials of building a business from the ground up. Instead, he inherited a legacy meticulously crafted by his grandfather and father, stepping into the role of CEO of the family food company. With every advantage at his fingertips, Marcos had the potential to be the first billionaire in his family. Yet, fate had different plans. A man described as both skilled and tempestuous, Marcos navigated the business world, not without success. He not only preserved the family fortune, but also multiplied it. However, Marcos was no ordinary figure. Capricious, arrogant, and with an unwavering desire to control those around him. As the layers of this chilling tale unfold, the once prominent businessman takes center stage in a narrative more ominous than anyone could have foreseen. Marcos Matsunaga, a businessman whose appearance did not align with societal standards of attractiveness. Battling childhood obesity, vision problems, and a stature that stood shorter than most, Marcos faced a barrage of challenges in his early years. These quirks, rather than endearing him to his peers, left him isolated. The young Marcos found himself devoid of friends and companionship, as his peculiarities became a barrier to social acceptance. Despite his business success and a fortune that could make him an eligible bachelor, Marcos struggled in the realm of romance. His arrogance and egoism repelled potential partners, leading him to seek companionship through unconventional means, often resorting to the services of escorts and individuals in the oldest profession. The details of Marcos's first marriage remain shrouded in mystery, with scant information available in open sources. What is known is that love and passion did not fuel this union. Despite the lack of a solid foundation, the marriage endured for several years, a testament to the complexities within. The young bride initially endeavored to weather the storm of Marcos's challenging personality, holding on to the hope that time would transform them into a happy, understanding couple. What began as an attempt at familial bliss evolved into a narrative of regret, where two individuals, bound by the chains of matrimony, found themselves drifting further apart with each passing day. Marcos, a man whose moral compass seemed to be lost in the abyss, not only betrayed his wife but flaunted his infidelity with a brazen disregard. Enter Alice, a bright and attractive blonde with a figure that caught Marcos's eye. Her portfolio, a digital resume in the world of escort services, drew Marcos into a web of clandestine rendezvous. 6 years younger than Marcos, Alice's life unfolded against the backdrop of poverty and dysfunction. Born into a family marred by addiction and living in one of the city's most crime-ridden areas, Alice faced a childhood devoid of joy. Her father was an enigma, and her mother, a heavy drinker entangled with like-minded partners, subjected Alice to a grim existence. Early on, the girl endured beatings, harassment, and abuse from her mother's companions. As soon as Alice could escape, she fled her troubled neighborhood after finishing school. With a determination to break free from her past, she pursued nursing courses and secured a job at a hospice. However, the stark reality of caring for the terminally ill left her yearning for something more. Her sensitive nature clashed with the emotional toll of losing patients, each death felt as a personal tragedy. Caught in the web of Marcos's world, Alice's life took a dark turn as she became entangled in a relationship that mirrored the twisted plot of a psychological thriller. The horror of their story goes beyond infidelity, reaching into the shadows of their pasts and the choices that would seal their fates. Fast forward a few years, and Alice, fueled by ambition, sought a new path in life. Her quest for a higher education led her to the realm of law, a field she believed held the keys to myriad opportunities. Armed with determination, she diligently prepared for the entrance exams and secured the required scores. However, financing her studies on her modest nurse's salary proved to be an insurmountable challenge. Isolated from her family, with severed ties echoing her journey of escape from a troubled past, Alice found herself at a crossroads. In a bold move, the young and attractive Alice, with her slender figure and dreams of a better future, ventured into the world of escort services. Registering on a specialized site, she crafted a vibrant online persona that soon captured the attention of affluent men seeking companionship. As Alice navigated the world of escorting, providing intimate services became a means to an end, a lifeline enabling her to pay for her education and sustain herself. Yet it was always a temporary fix, as she harbored aspirations of leaving this occupation once she secured her diploma and landed a job in her chosen field. Enter Marcos, a regular client who frequented the pages of Alice's life. Generous with gifts and unapologetically visible in public, Marcos became entwined in Alice's narrative. Aware of his marital status, Alice at that moment could only dream that this rendezvous with one of the country's wealthiest men would transform her life. The story of Alice Matsunaga echoed a modern-day Cinderella tale. A girl from a disadvantaged background, engaged in escort services, catching the eye of a multimillionaire who, against all odds, fell passionately in love with her. As their worlds collided, Marcos found himself bewitched by Alice's charm, yet the extent to which Alice played a role in this newfound infatuation remained a mystery, as the unexpected love story between a poor girl and a wealthy businessman takes center stage, leaving us to question the forces at play in the tale of Alice Matsunaga. About 6 months ago, the winds of change swept through Marcos's life. What started as a casual affair with Alice soon blossomed into a desire for permanence. Without hesitation, Marcos made a pivotal decision. He filed for divorce from his first wife and boldly declared Alice as his fiancée, a move that would alter the course of their lives. In a bid to shield their unconventional love story from prying eyes, Marcos and Alice concocted a tale of a chance encounter in a cafe, a narrative they upheld even among their closest circles. The intricacies of their connection, veiled in secrecy, remained a mystery to friends and family alike. For Marcos, the need for discretion was paramount. Concealing the origins of his relationship with Alice and the nature of her previous livelihood. However, the reception of Alice into the Matsunaga family was far from warm. The entrepreneur's parents harbored suspicions about this captivating young woman, speculating that she had strategically used her charm to win the affections of the wealthy yet unconventional Marcos. They couldn't shake the feeling that Alice, with a deliberate effort, was turning a blind eye to his challenging temperament. Despite the skepticism within the Matsunaga clan, when Marcos announced his decision to divorce his first wife and marry Alice, objections were relatively subdued. The businessman orchestrated a grand wedding, adhering to tradition with a white dress, an extensive guest list, and a towering cake. The lavish ceremony marked the beginning of a new chapter as Marcos ushered his bride into their opulent mansion, where she assumed the role of a full-fledged mistress in this peculiar tale of love, secrecy, and unconventional unions. Marcos Matsunaga, a connoisseur of the finer things in life, was renowned for his obsession with exquisite wines and rare weapons. In the recesses of his home, an expansive cellar housed meticulously organized bottles, each a testament to his discerning taste. Not stopping at libations, Marcos reserved a clandestine chamber for his extensive collection of firearms and edged weapons, proudly displayed from floor to ceiling. But Marcos's love for collecting transcended the realms of wine and weaponry. His residence transformed into a treasure trove, adorned with antiques, opulent goods, and contemporary art that, to some, seemed to clash in an eclectic display of his wealth and taste. As the Matsunaga union unfolded, the couple felt a desire to expand their family. Despite earnest efforts, the prospect of a natural pregnancy eluded them for an extended period. Determined to realize their dreams of parenthood, Marcos and Alice turned to in vitro fertilization. Their journey towards parenthood was not swift, but when their daughter finally arrived, the couple believed their happiness knew no bounds. The early years of parenting became a focus for Marcos and Alice. Plans for the future took shape, and as their daughter grew, the family embarked on global adventures, immersing themselves in diverse cultures and traditions. Their narrative, once grounded in clandestine love and unconventional beginnings, now embraced the joys of family life, with each chapter revealing a blend of opulence, passion, and unexpected happiness. While Marcos had always been an avid enthusiast of this pastime, attempting to involve his past partners and even his first wife, it was with Alice that this shared interest found a unique and fervent expression. For many, the idea of hunting might seem repellent, but Alice, driven by a desire to win Marcos's favor, embraced this unconventional hobby. The couple ventured into shooting ranges together, where Alice, with determination, learned the intricacies of handling various firearms. From there, they transitioned into the woods, transforming the act of hunting wild animals into a shared adventure. Alice approached hunting as a competition, devoid of sentimentality, a stark contrast to the more conventional view of this pastime. Marcos, intrigued by Alice's unflinching stance, relished watching her wield her weapons and pursue her prey. In a macabre dance, they not only hunted but also engaged in the art of skinning and carving wild boars, deer, and other forest denizens. Large knives, specialized cleavers, and axes became the tools of their unusual bonding as they dissected creatures in the pursuit of their shared passion. The Matsunaga household harbored no conventional pets like cats or dogs. Instead, they curated a collection of poisonous snakes housed in specially designed terrariums, mirroring their natural habitats. This peculiar choice stemmed from Marcos's enduring fascination with these slithering creatures, a dream realized despite disapproval from his first wife. In the spring of 2012, Alice found herself entangled in a web of strange hobbies that had, in essence, sealed the deal with Marcos. As the entrepreneur geared up for what could be the defining deal of his life, a deal promising billionaire status and a seismic shift in his fortunes, the couple's journey took an unexpected turn. Marcos, consumed by the pursuit of this grandiose deal, became a spectral presence in their relationship. The Matsunaga duo transplanted themselves into the elite echelons of an apartment complex, nestled in the heart of the city's business center, a move that would become the backdrop to the unraveling of their once promising union. The businessman's days were meticulously scheduled, each minute accounted for in the frenetic rhythm of meetings, negotiations, and consultations. Alice found herself alone in the opulence of their panoramic apartment, the cityscape below serving as a silent witness to her solitude. As Marcos's work commitments kept him away for extended periods, promises of a transformed life, the businessman's assurances of a brighter future became a haunting refrain, a promise that seemed increasingly distant with each passing day. The entrepreneur Marcos Matsunaga vanished into thin air, leaving behind a void that would soon echo with the whispers of suspicion and fear. The unfolding drama began when Alice, Marcos's wife, belatedly reported his disappearance the next day. A labyrinth of scheduled meetings and impending business dealings led her to believe that Marcos was engulfed in the throes of work. The evening prior, he spoke of a meeting set to stretch into the night, followed by a dawn rendezvous with a business partner. With a casual assurance that he might spend the night at the office, Marcos took some belongings, inadvertently setting the stage for a nightmarish turn of events. As the sun dawned on a day that should have heralded the realization of a life-altering deal, Marcos remained elusive. The void left by his silence sent Alice into a spiral of concern. When his phone ceased to echo with his voice and the echoes of his absence became deafening, she reported him missing. Hope dwindled as the police unraveled the disquieting truth. Marcos had not shown up for crucial meetings, a departure so stark that it defied his character. The initial theory, one that painted a grim picture of kidnapping and looming ransom demands, quickly dissipated into a vacuum of uncertainty. The investigators, propelled by urgency, cast their net wide, questioning relatives, friends, and business associates. They probed into the intricate tapestry of Marcos's life. Despite relentless efforts, the investigators stumbled in their pursuit of a specific person or group, harboring ill intentions toward the astute businessman. Marcos's competency in running his business and the positive impact of his strategic decisions made enemies an elusive quarry. In the aftermath of an unsettling revelation, the Matsunaga family saga took a sinister turn, echoing the suspense of a horror movie script. A few days after discreetly taking her daughter, Alice found herself at the doorstep of her in-laws, burdened with a truth she had not dared to disclose to the authorities. With tears streaming down her face, Alice unveiled a painful reality. Marcos, her husband, had long been engaged in an affair with a woman named Natasha Villarreal Lima. This was no clandestine secret. It was an open betrayal that had pushed their marriage to the brink. Despite heated quarrels and vows to end the affair, Marcos continued rendezvousing with Natasha, now more discreetly to avoid family confrontations. Feeling the weight of her husband's betrayal, Alice took matters into her own hands. Fueled by suspicion, she enlisted the help of a private detective to collect evidence of Marcos's infidelity. Photographs and videos painted a damning portrait of Marcos on romantic dates with Natasha. The plot thickened when it was revealed that Natasha Lima was initially found on the same escort services site where Marcos first encountered Alice. Marked by lavish gifts, including an expensive car and a substantial sum of money paid to ensure Natasha's exit from the site. In a dramatic confrontation, Alice presented the evidence to Marcos's parents, showcasing the irrefutable proof of their son's betrayal. Astonishingly, Marcos showed no remorse. Instead, he packed his belongings, declared his intent to leave, and vanished without a trace. The daughter-in-law's revelation suggested a man driven by passion, forsaking his family and business legacy for a new lover. The chilling unraveling of the mystery took a ghastly turn. About a week later, in a desolate area, a passerby stumbled upon scattered garbage bags, each harboring the gruesome remains of a human body. The police were alerted, and as the pieces fell into place, the nation learned of the tragic fate of Marcos Matsunaga. His disappearance, once shrouded in mystery, now bore the macabre truth that sent shockwaves through a community that had known him as a dedicated family man and businessman. In the shadowy aftermath of this harrowing tale, more questions loomed. Was Marcos a victim of his own passions, or was there a darker force at play? In the cold light of forensic examination, the gruesome details of Marcos Matsunaga's demise emerged. The businessman met his end with a fatal shot to the head, and from there, a macabre sequence unfolded. His lifeless body was methodically dismembered, packed into garbage bags, and callously transported to the outskirts of the city. The precision of the cut suggested a killer with a surgeon's precision, or the skill of an adept butcher, wielding a carving knife with a sinister proficiency. As the investigators embarked on the treacherous path of solving this heinous crime, the focus shifted to the last known location of Marcos, his upscale residential complex. Here, surveillance cameras, silent witnesses to the night in question, held the key to unlocking the mystery. The footage revealed a seemingly ordinary evening, with the couple ordering food delivery. Marcos, captured on camera, descended to the first floor and returned with boxes of pizza. Little did anyone know that this would be the last recorded moment of his existence outside the confines of his home. The narrative took a sinister turn as Marcos seemed to vanish within the very walls of his residence. The morning after, his wife, Alice, emerged from their apartment with 3 sizable wheeled suitcases. The weight of her burden hinted at the dark secret concealed within. The investigators, piecing together the grim puzzle, discerned the nature of the luggage. With mounting suspicion, Alice was taken into custody for questioning. Initially clinging to the narrative of her husband leaving for a mistress, her resolve crumbled when confronted with the elevator footage. Tears streaming down her face, she began to unravel the harrowing truth. According to Alice, their marriage had devolved into a nightmare of emotional abuse. Marcos, once an idol, transformed into a tormentor who belittled her for her past in escort services, controlling her every move and isolating her from friendships. When divorce was broached, Marcos dismissed it with a cruel laugh, threatening to leave her with nothing and take their daughter away. On that fateful evening, Alice confronted her husband with evidence of his infidelity, but his reaction was one of anger. The confrontation escalated, and as Alice recounted the events, she described a foggy sequence where the boundaries between reality and nightmare blurred. The truth behind Marcos's demise unveiled not only a grisly crime, but a marriage steeped in toxicity and despair. In the shadowy recesses of a once prosperous marriage, the twisted tale of Marcos Matsunaga's demise took a haunting turn. Alice, seemingly caught in the throes of a hazy reality, could not recall how a gun materialized in her hands, unleashing a fatal shot upon her husband. Awakening to the grim reality of her actions, she made a chilling decision to erase all traces of his existence, crafting a narrative that would defy the prying eyes of justice. Alice's past as a nurse and her husband's macabre tutorials on animal dissection provided her with the grisly knowledge needed for the task at hand. Armed with the tools of their shared pastime, she set about the methodical process of dismembering Marcos's body, all while their innocent daughter slumbered in the adjacent room. The doubts deepened when it surfaced that the damning evidence of Marcos's infidelity, the very catalyst for her actions, only reached her hands on May 20th, after the fatal shot had been fired. This incongruity cast shadows of suspicion on her testimony. The plot thickened when Alice, armed with the acquired photos and videos, approached Marcos's parents, spinning a tale of abandonment orchestrated by her fleeing husband and his alleged mistress. Enter Natasha Lima, the elusive figure in this twisted drama. Testifying in court, Natasha portrayed Marcos as a man eager for divorce, shackled by fear of Alice's perceived instability and the potential for her to unleash horrors upon him. In her last encounter with Marcos, Natasha recounted his grievances about the ceaseless family conflicts, revealing a plan to relocate to Florida after selling the family company. In the aftermath of the harrowing investigation into Marcos Matsunaga's death, the unraveling truth sent shivers down the spine, revealing a horror story stranger than fiction. A shocking revelation emerged from the forensic examination, a grisly detail that turned the macabre tale even darker. Forensic experts discovered blood in Marcos's lungs, a sinister indicator that he was still alive and struggling for breath when Alice mercilessly severed his head from his body. The brutality of this revelation painted a horrifying picture, challenging Alice's vehement denial that he died instantly from the gunshot. The forensics team further unearthed a disturbing anomaly: the trajectory of the fatal bullet. It entered Marcos's head at an odd angle, suggesting he was in a vulnerable position, caught off guard, and made no attempt to defend himself. Alice, in her attempt to craft a narrative that painted her as a victim, found herself facing a barrage of contradictions. The court, meticulously dissecting the evidence, found her guilty of premeditated murder with particular cruelty and attempting to conceal the crime. The weight of the verdict hung heavy as Alice Matsunaga was sentenced to 20 years in prison, a sentence that many deemed remarkably lenient given the heinous nature of the crime. As the courtroom drama unfolded, the final chapter of this chilling saga left a lingering sense of justice unfulfilled, prompting contemplation on the fragility of the legal system. Thank you for joining me on this unsettling journey, and if you found this story gripping, subscribe to the channel. There are more shocking tales ahead. Stay tuned for the untold mysteries that await.